Happy Friday, Source Nation. Dhylles Victoria here, Sip and Chat World Changers TV show. Of course, always the shirt, Queen of Sip and Chat. Yes, I deem myself with that. So today we have an amazing, powerful guest on the show. I don't have too much men on the show, so I'm just excited to have this amazing human being, beautiful soul on the show who happens to be a man. So before we get into it, Source Nation, this is Source Radio Network. Our platform is absolutely amazing. Again, my name is Dhylles Victoria, Sip and Chat World Changers TV show, and I'm going to get right into thanking all of our sponsors, because without the sponsors, we can't do this. So our sponsors are as follows: Zolina Health, Wellness, and Fitness, Paper to Films Productions, Meet My Types Matchmaking, Revolution Mills, Renovations, and New Covenant of Praise Worship Center. So thank you so much once again to our sponsors. We truly appreciate you. So with further ado, like I was saying, I have a very powerful man on my show today. Yes, for testosterone. Woo! we're estrogen based. I think for me, my show, I have a whole bunch of different beautiful, amazing women. So to have a powerful man on the show is absolutely great. So I'd love to introduce Source Nation, James Rodríguez, to Sip and Chat World Changers TV show. Thank you for coming on the show, James. How are you today?
Oh, thank you for having me.
Oh, of course, definitely. I was on your website looking at all the amazing, fabulous things that you do. So just tell everyone what it is that you do and how did you find this passion. But before we get into that, the very important question of this morning is, what are you sipping on?
I got so many jokes. I want to say I'm sipping on something, but I'm just drinking some water.
Cool. Well, I'm drinking peppermint tea in my follow your heart cup. So we're all good to go with that. Water's good. Like I was telling James earlier, guys, I only have water and teas in my apartment because I'm trying to work on not drinking less soda and juice and things of that nature. Wine is something that I want to drink, but I'm going to cut down on that as well. So for me, it's tea, and for James, it's water. So tell everyone who you are and what you do, and how did you come about this powerful, amazing movement that you have going on?
Okay, well, first, everything that I do doesn't make me up as who I am as a person, but I'm first and foremost always a product of God, but I'm a father of beautiful children. My son is my oldest. He's 30 now, and my daughter's 29, and 15-year-old daughters, and who lives with me. And so first and foremost, dad. And then I have a beautiful fiance, and so she's always saying that I'm her king and she's queen. So
Aww.
I think it's apropos how you're wearing your shirt. If she was here, she'd probably want to have one.
Oh, I have one for her, not a problem.
I'll tell her Keisha that. But then I've been blessed for over 20 years, actually more than that. When I was in the military, I started working with kids that were at risk on my off-duty time as a volunteer, working with kids in gangs. And somehow it just kept on transitioning me down the road to help other people. And now it's a product of a career that I tell people I'm in my season now, that I want to give everything that I've learned to help people come behind me. And I think that's the critical thing for Fathers and Families Coalition of America. We are not a father's rights organization. But what we are about healthy families, healthy mothers, healthy fathers, healthy communities for the outcome of our children, and not just in the United States, but globally, because I've been able to engage other people around the world. And one of the critical factors is fatherlessness is not just an American problem, it's a global problem, and yet America is probably got more barriers for healthy father involvement, and that's some things that we're doing. So we teach other people skills in our national conference, our regional institutes, and then we got an awesome affiliate membership component that I'm very, very honored that leaders from throughout the United States, even this week, a new one from Florida, and then yesterday, one from Oakland, California. These organizations and other organizations anywhere can sign up to be members, but affiliates are deeper. And then Australia, University of Peking in China. So what I guess I'm saying is that there's more than James Rodríguez. There's so many committed people who want to see better outcomes for children, and that is the center of everything. How can we improve outcomes for children so that they have something better and the next generation, and it starts from all of us in our communities to be supportive of mothers and fathers so that we can have better outcomes for our kids and the systems that take care of our children, education, community-based organizations, interfaith community leaders, all of us.
That's absolutely right, and it's very powerful, and I have to drink to that because that was absolutely amazing right there.
It is Sip and Chat.
This is Sip and Chat. It is Sip and Chat. So how did you come up with this amazing concept of Fathers and Families Coalition in America? Like, what was that defining moment when you decided like that this had to be the name? Like, how did that resonate with you?
Well, originally we were let me put this to the side. Mm-hmm. We were in Arizona, and I had just got off active duty, and I had my 2 children, and I was a single father. But being a single father or a product of I do want to stop and give credit to my mother real quick, because my mom struggled out of poverty, and we're Puerto Rican, and I'm first generation here, and my grandparents, my mother didn't stay in adversity. By the time she retired, she was a professor at University of Michigan and had a PhD in women and minority rhetoric and composition. I said, Mom, who's going to hire you? So what I'm saying is that, you know, all these things build on each other, and even myself, a product of poverty, and that was just an economical condition, not a condition of who I should be. Mm-hmm. And or systems saying that, you know, because being Latino and a young kid at the time, the projection was probably incarceration, but that doesn't have to be what happens. Just because people say statistically young Black males and Hispanic males go to prison, we don't have to live statistics. We can change them and re-transform them into anything we want. So when working with these kids, I just felt like my first job was at a Head Start program, and Head Start is a program that works with young children, 3 to 5, and their parents. Well, I oversaw the family component, and I just felt like we didn't have enough staff for all of our families. And I felt like, why don't we all come together and collaborate with other programs to get training and work together? That's what I thought we would do. And then there were some grants that came out, and I wrote maybe 6 grants within about an 18-month time frame that all of them got funded, and millions of dollars. One of them was to help young mothers in the public welfare system, and the other one was to help young fathers of children in the public welfare systems, whether it was healthcare or public assistance or housing. Well, that young fathers one became a lesson for us, and we were one of the first programs in the United States with an ongoing fatherhood program. But we were really good at telling a father what he needed to do, telling him go to school, telling him to go finish his GED, telling him where he can go get a job, telling him how to dress to go get a job. Like if I was right now here wearing an A-frame T-shirt, that wouldn't get me the job. And some of the fathers couldn't understand that, why. But what we didn't do is we never really connected to their soul. We never understood that they too, even though they were young fathers, maybe they didn't grow up in the best household. And maybe they didn't have mentors, or maybe they had a lot of misdirection. And so that's what started to drive more of a purpose-driven organization. How can we? And then we found out that I felt like we weren't doing enough for our staff. So a couple years passed by. I thought we were going to have one event, one conference, and that was it. And it was going to help train our staff. We ended up getting about 400 or 500 people come from all over the United States because they wanted information. How can I help my fathers? And then it even evolved into this. I'm not going to shamelessly plug like you did. That was a good one though.
Yes.
But this is our a handbook on training fathers, and so the evolution is pretty deep in that. Over time now we've trained over 30,000 people, and people participated from over 90 nations. And that's why I mean it's a global perspective. So it all started basically with the desire to figure out how we can help young parents. And I never knew, I mean, I had a vision that it would be more than just one location. I just never knew the need so much around the world and around the United States of America.
Yeah, that's very powerful. I mean, you have a powerful mission and a powerful movement, and I think it's admirable and it's amazing. So my next question to you is, how were you a world changer, and when did you realize you were a world changer?
Say that again. I was sipping.
You was good one. How are you a world changer, and when did you realize that you are a world changer?
You know, I read the title of your program about being a world changer, and I believe we all can change our piece of the world, but it has to start with inside of us. And also you have to have a reality check of when you didn't do things right. Even though functioning and helping and building programs, I was a great father, really, but I really wasn't able to have healthy relationships because I still had a lot of brokenness inside of me from childhood. And I think I was in my late 30s or definitely by 40, where I actually, reflected and said, I never really forgave my father for what he did to myself. I wrote a story called The Hole in My Soul. In this story, The Hole in My Soul, it was a kind of a poetic way of saying that I had a lot of holes in my soul because my father had put them there, but it was not his responsibility for me to keep them there.
Truth.
And I started filling these holes up with unhealthy choices. Women, not being able to, when I was younger, being in gangs. When I was young, I'm talking about before I became an adult, but I was hiding myself. Or even when I used to work out a lot, I was working out so much, I got so big and chested, I was doing too much in one thing instead of having some peace time, because I never had peace. I never allowed joy to come in all the time. I had happiness through happenings. And I realized that my happiness had to first start with forgiveness for him, even though he had passed away when I was 12. And so when that happened, I believe things started to transform significantly in my life. I always had a relationship with God, but I feel like it went deeper. And then even with my children who love me, and I raised them by myself pretty much, maybe about 90% of the time with me. Um, I just wanted to give them the best that I have. And including with Fathers and Families Coalition of America, I realized we have to go deeper. So there's a saying that deep calls deeper, and it's in the book of Psalms. So that when you go over the waterfalls, not if, when you go over the waterfalls, that there'll be someone there to catch you so you won't hit the rocks below. And I think before, I felt like I could go over the waterfall and catch myself instead of allowing myself to be open and vulnerable for other people to say, hey, I've got you,
Right.
which is part of building trust. When that happened, I feel like then I started doing more on a global aspect. It just seemed like it just opened wide up. And there was a gentleman, Trent Love, and I always want to give credit because it's not just myself. Trent Love said to me, Captain Trent Love out of New York City, he said, James, the thing is that you're doing it. And even with technology, we started a live stream channel like what you're doing right now. Said a lot of people won't do it. You'll at least try. And I said, yeah, because the only thing that could happen is it doesn't work out. And I learned from that as well. All those things combined just started rolling. That when we went to Jamaica a couple of years ago to do an event, and the Prime Minister sent his Minister of Health, Dr. Michael Coombs, I realized that we really were starting to be world changers, because what you said, I would never want to accept it because I felt like that's too high of a position. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally understand.
And a little, it could be looked at it as a little arrogant, and I didn't want to have that arrogant view on myself, which is also diminishing self-worth. But then I saw that we're opening up these doors, or we did 3 events in Puerto Rico, or last year, December, the University of Peking, China, in Beijing, China, School of Psychology and School of Education, so they had been watching us over the last several years. And I made a joke. I said, stalkers all the way from China. And they said, but we're lacking that our parents are holding their phones more than their children.
Yep.
And we need to start creating something. So if you go on our website, now they are Fathers and Families Coalition of China. So, see, like what this right here was a start,
right,
of an idea years ago to help train our staff. And then this has evolved so much so that it's very humbling that you realize people are all over the world watching. And I think that's how we affect change. And it starts because we want to be more effective in ourselves and look into ourselves. And how can I be a better person, a better man, a better woman, a better son, a better daughter, a better mother, a better father? Just how can I be better? And every single day, just strive for it, knowing that I'm not going to be perfect. And some days, I don't know about you. I know you're a queen, so you probably perfected. But I know there's many days that I'm like, I regret that I didn't make good decisions. But the thing is, I got tomorrow for a new slate.
Exactly.
And not living in regret, if that makes sense.
It does. I always say I live in my legacy, and I want to every day create opportunities and possibilities, not only for myself, but people in my community. And it starts with me being honest with myself. It starts with me doing the work, and it starts with me being open and vulnerable and sharing my story, because when you share your story, you have no idea who's watching and who's listening and who needs that. So if you can change one life by sharing your story, you've impacted the world in that way. So of course, being a world changer, that's what it's all about. It's just owning that. And it's not, like you said, being arrogant. I feel it's owning it with grace and integrity, and being humble about it as a world changer. So I applaud you for what you do. I think it's absolutely amazing. And as soon as you were talking, like I had a whole bunch of people in my head. I'm like, I could connect them to this person and that person and this organization. So my head started going. And speaking of Puerto Rico, I actually went to Puerto Rico in 2013, and the first women leader, Doña Fera Rincon, she's one of my spirit guides. And when I went to Puerto Rico, I didn't realize that at the time I had a vision. I was going to meet an old woman that was going to change my life. So I went to the museum and I spoke to one of the tour guides, and she started telling me things that she did for the community and the orphanages and things like that. And it absolutely changed my life. And when I came back to New York, she was my driving force to write my first book. So your mom, when you talked about your mom is the epitome of Doña Fela. She's the epitome of her. So thanks to mom for all that she did. That's just absolutely amazing. Brilliant woman. Brilliant woman.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, but thank you so much. So with everything that you have going on, I don't even feel like I need to ask you this question. I'm going to ask you anyway. Where do you see FFCA within another 5 years?
You know, there's a time where you see the sun setting on your place, but it allows for someone else to have a sunrise. And eventually, within 5 years, the sun is going to rise on someone else who's going to have a vision to take Fathers and Families Coalition to a different place. And I'm not saying better, or I'm not saying not meeting the ideas that I have, because if someone comes behind me and they have to live in my shadow, and I cast my shadow on them, then that means they don't get to cast their own shadow. Mm-hmm. Which means I have now become an obstruction between them and the light for them to follow, and I don't want that to happen. But I do believe that Fathers and Families Coalition America next March will mark our 20th annual National Families and Fathers Conference in Los Angeles, March 4th through the 7th. And I believe that's going to be the tipping point for new leadership to come in. And means I've been thinking about, it's funny that you asked this question, a lot over the last 2 months, succession planning and preparing someone to come behind me. And I don't know who it is. I've looked at other people in the past, but then I realized that their imperfection was too perfectly grandiose, and I didn't want that to be barriers for them. Or looking for someone who understands this is not their organization, it is their service, which is a big difference. You can be a servant leader, and you know it's okay to have acronyms behind your name, PhD, MSW, but still at the end of the day know that I'm here to serve for others. So I feel that those are some of the things that a new leader, new vision. Now, what I believe that we're going to do now is that we still need to, in what I would like to have is an affiliate in every single state in the United States. And I would like to have at least 15 affiliates. I would like our affiliates to also include 10 more tribal nations, so that Native American communities and communities from Atlanta to Los Angeles, and that those leaders cultivate a vision that together would be very powerful, with the center of improving outcomes for children. Now, there's a lot of organizations that do that, but what I mean is that how do you do that and engage fathers simultaneously? Because if you're a queen, where's your king? And so what we should be raising are a bunch of princes and princesses to become kings and queens. But how do you have that when he's missing? And I'm saying the king. Agreed. So I feel like for our generations to come, young men who are growing in and who want to become a father, I feel like they're going to be better than my generation because of all of us helping them out. And so if we have leaders there to champion for children and families, I think that's the other thing. So by 2020, which is around the corner, Right now, I think we have an affiliate in 26 states. So if we have 24 more come, which is very possible, then we also become advocates. And I feel like we can be more engaged in public policy discussions. Today, I'm honored that Congressman Danny K. Davis, out of this, the great state of Illinois, centered in the city of Chicago, one of the leaders in the Congressional Black Caucus, and his staff, his deputy chief, Dr. Jill Hunter Williams, are taking the time to meet with our affiliate leaders and members on policy in Capitol Hill. But what if we have more affiliates, more leaders? That means the information would go out to more, and that we could be readily available to our communities. And that's the next piece. Because ultimately, what is happening now, so many young mothers are walking away from their children. What I do not want to see happen in 5 to 10 years is a negative stereotype about mother absence.
Yep.
So we've got to help build healthy families. And that has to be the central call. 50 years ago, 60 years ago for sure, the Black and the Hispanic family were not fragmented like they are now. They were stronger.
Mm-hmm.
So there were some great elements 60 years ago. There was also a lot of challenges, but we need to figure out culturally how we can get our strength back. And it has to start with us all together.
Yep.
And
Agreed.
those are some of the things I hope happens before the end of my life, that I would like to see boys and girls being raised with a strong mother and father, and that they're collectively engaged in their lives. I'm not talking about if they're married or not. That'd be ideal, but that they're both there equally giving their strengths that they have as a mother and as a father that are very different, so that these young boys and girls grow up to be the best that they can. They don't have a bunch of holes in their souls because father is missing or mother is missing, or that they feel like they're not. We know it's a global epidemic of fatherlessness, but with every epidemic, there's a cure.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to share with one little thing, and then I know you probably have some other questions, but there's a guy named Dr. Gail Robertson. He did a longitudinal study of youth violence in the Caribbean and Belize. And the number one thing that reduced violence and oneness for youth, and a mother could do it every single day, but if a father just did it consistently, was the biggest change for youth.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a hug from a father.
True.
So what I would like is for a national campaign, fathers, just hug your children, but also hug yourself and know that you're a good man. And maybe you may have made mistakes as a man. I know I have. Mm-hmm. But today's a new day. Hug on yourself. Be a better man every day, a better dad every day. But definitely let your children know that you love them and hug them. Doing that, and I'm not saying text message them, that's okay, but be there for them.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. Did you say Belize?
Say that again.
Did you say Caribbean and Belize?
Yes, the study was in a youth violence longitudinal study, and they focused on Robert Gayle, Gayle, mm-hmm. on how the attributes of youth violence in the Caribbean.
Yeah.
And then they looked at what were some of the things that could mitigate it. And that became the ultimate response. And I think it may be on our website somewhere. If not, I'll send it to you and you can have it for your viewers.
Well, my mom, her family's from Belize. That's why I asked. I was like, did he just say Belize? Yeah. And I went to high school in Belize. I did Catholic high school in Belize, so very well versed with.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah. So I haven't been back in 13 years, but actually, I know what you're talking about. So that's very huge that you would say something like that. confirmation. So, but before we leave, thank you so much for coming on the show. Any parting words or advice that you would give the youth of today that helped you when you were growing up, that made you a better person?
Um, you know, I've got a lot of flooding memories of great men and women that were there in my life. Uh, they didn't realize it, but they were pouring in love. So just be there for someone. Be a smile on someone's face today. There's been times I call them victories. What are your victories in your life? Don't worry about defeats. Think about the victories that you have. And then how can you impart a sense of victory for others? It may be helping someone who's homeless or giving them some money. It may just smiling at someone and just saying, how are you doing? Or good morning or something like that. And you don't know what that could do to someone.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that if we just start doing that more, in Spanish, there's a word cariño, which means caring, but it's a little deeper. It's that sense of warmth and love. We just give that to everyone, we'll be all right.
Truth. Agreed. I love it. Well, thank you so much. This was interesting, empowering, deep, thought-provoking interview, and you remind me a lot of myself, of how I am with people and how I walk in my purpose. So it's great to see a fellow leader and world changer just doing the damn thing consistently and knowing that it has to come from within and not from without. So I thank you for that. It was an amazing blessing for me. So thank you so much. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
Of course, of course. So Source Nation, you had amazing nuggets blessed on you today by James Rodríguez. And I'll definitely have him back on the show sometime in the near future, next couple of weeks or months or so. And I definitely want to make sure that you post up to my page on Facebook, and I'll share your information out and just connect you to other people that I know that would be absolutely amazing to collaborate and just incorporate just the gifts of service with you as well. So thank you. So happy Friday again, guys. Dhylles Davis here, Sip and Chat World Changers TV show with my powerful, amazing guest, James Rodríguez. And before we leave, once again, I have to definitely thank all the sponsors again. So Zulina Health, Wellness, and Fitness, Paper to Film Productions, Meet My Types Matchmaking, Revolution Mills and Renovations, as well as New Covenant of Praise Worship Center. So thank you so much, guys. Enjoy your Friday. I hope that you are doing well, sending out love and light and so much positive energy. Love up on yourself. Like James says, give yourself a hug. I know that I do all the time. And if you're traveling, safe travels if you're home. I'm happy that you're home on this happy Friday. And just be good to yourself as well as each other's, and blessings. So we'll talk soon. Next week, Friday, we have 2 more amazing guests coming on the show, and it's going to be great things. And like I said, I actually enjoyed this interview. It was actually amazing and powerful, and I hope you guys did the same. And be sure to share this out with everyone else in your network, and think of anyone that you may know that might want to join in on this amazing movement and mission, and just continuously spread the word. So till next time, guys, happy Friday. See you guys again. Dhylles Victoria here, Sip and Chat Movement World Changers TV, Source Radio Network. Talk to you guys later.
Yo.